Bo Nix and these Denver Broncos are already exploiting a major problem across the NFL, which is why they are going to shock the world and make the postseason for the first time in almost a decade. We're going to break that down, so much more in this video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and if you like the Denver Broncos, it really does help me out a lot if you would hit that like and subscribe button. So we are going to dive in here. Bo Nix last week against all other first-round rookie quarterbacks graded out the highest, and there are a lot of caveats with that. There's been a lot of hype in Broncos country, and all the haters on social media are like, well, they just played against backups. Well, while the rest of the world oohed and awed and just gushed love for Caleb Williams, you got to remember that the Cincinnati Bengals don't play their starters either. So Bo Nix was playing up against backups in the Green Bay Packers. Well, so was Caleb Williams as he played the Cincinnati Bengals as well. And you compare apples to apples, and Bo Nix graded out higher than him. Sean Payton wanted Bo Nix all along. You have multiple people corroborate that story. And we see that Sean Payton has his guy, and he has the guy who is truly a mobile Drew Brees. Like, he moves the pocket in a way that has just been so clever that through 2 games, we have not seen Bo Nix under center throwing a straight 3-step drop back or 5-step drop back. Everything under center has been play action, RPO kind of thing. And Bo Nix hasn't done that. And Sean Payton's ability to get Bo Nix on the edge and move the pocket has been elite. And what's really cool about it is that Sean Payton talked about in his post-game press conference that he has 3 different play sheets for each of these players' strengths and what they can do well. And so you see he's got a different set of plays that he has Stidham run, then he has Zach Wilson run, and that he has Bo Nix run. And each of those, you've seen him be able to make really exploit the defense that he's facing in that, and that is elite coaching, not saying like, hey, you have to fit this system, because Bo Nix hasn't been Drew Brees. You know, they've been very similar and they get the ball out quick, but we saw that really quick pass against the Indianapolis Colts was an RPO. I don't ever remember seeing Drew Brees run an RPO like that. And so you really see Sean Payton able to flex his system to adapt to what Bo Nix does well, and that is fantastic. I think the other really cool thing that will shock the world is I think we've seen the last of Bo Nix this preseason. And so when we go in to play the Seattle Seahawks in week 1, really defenses, as you scheme against us, they haven't seen a ton of what Bo Nix does, because there's a lot of things that happened at training camp that we never showed in the preseason, and that bodes really well for what we can be. And this isn't just me saying how good this is and how good this can be. Here's Colin Kaepernick. I know he's a friend of Sean Payton, so that probably might discount that with some viewers, but the fact is he's a relevant national perspective on this, and he says the same thing.
Notice this. Bo Nix is really good right now. I know it's preseason. I know it's just preseason. But I said this Friday. Top 3 quarterbacks taken have defensive coaches. He has Sean Payton. Defensive coach, or next to Andy Reid, arguably the best offensive coach in football. Think it matters for a young quarterback? 61 college starts. Are you watching this kid?
We saw Bill Belichick come out and say the same thing. Like, that 61 starts in college is going to really compound, and we're going to see it here. So let's watch some breakdown of him playing against the 2s with the Green Bay Packers, but also remember that as he did this against the 2s, this is the exact same thing that he did against Green Bay Packers starting defense, which has the top paid corner in Zaire Alexander in joint training camp.
This is the first.
And we're going to see just some incredible ways that Sean Payton uses him to move the pocket, and it's just phenomenal to see this. And his use of the play action, his use of truly, Bo Nix is sneaky fast. So watching him here, again, he a nice little play action there and hitting Troutman right there across the middle. Very accurate, doesn't lead him into the man. On this play, I love this play design, and I love Bo's athleticism to move the pocket in a way that Russell Wilson, maybe prime Russell Wilson, could have gotten around this rush, but Bo Nix has wheels on him. We heard Jordan Palmer come out and say that when he was at Auburn, he was one of the fastest guys with a full defense of SEC talent there, right? So watching this little fake pitch here, gorgeous there, right? And seeing how it makes these guys bite. And I don't know a lot of quarterbacks who can beat a linebacker there. And here, Bo Nix talked about how he missed a couple throws. I think Courtland Sutton probably could have caught this and caught the edge and perhaps scored on that. Still, he takes the for sure thing with Tim Patrick there, Love Tim Patrick getting some action, but we're just seeing Bo Nix like really starting to carve up defenses, and it's not just against second string guys. It is against, it was in training camp. It was against our secondary, which is proving to be very good. This was the play, of course, that ends up being called back because Bo Nix was offsides on this. But again, his ability to climb the pocket and not just roll into pressure, but always be looking forward. And I loved this here. One of the things I didn't notice watching the TV copy, but I've since noticed on Twitter, is that after he throws this, he actually like kind of looks away because I think he knows it's a touchdown, or maybe he's looking at the sticks to see if he was across. But that's pretty sweet, almost like a no-look touchdown there. But Sean Payton's ability to cater this offense to what Bo Nix does well, that's the key to developing a rookie quarterback, is don't give him an entire playbook. Instead, like, simplify it for him. And that's exactly what he's done. And it's worked. We have the top graded rookie quarterback in pro football right now. And give as many caveats as you want to that, but those are the facts right there. And I think that is a very, very good thing. The other thing that is, I think, just absolutely shocking is I was a little hesitant right away that Sean Payton didn't just name Bo Nix the guy. But the way Sean Payton is doing this is working, that he has helped Bo feel like he's earning it. And so he isn't making Bo have a target on his back as like, oh, you're the teacher's pet and you're everybody's favorite. And what you see is like just this culture of belief and almost like a college type environment where guys are cheering for each other and have each other's backs. Being at that Indianapolis game, that was what I noticed, was like when the defense made a great play, you saw Cortland and Bo and Stiddy all like rush in and give helmet taps and jump on the field. And that's just a totally different vibe than we have had in years past, where you've, almost these silos of guys. And even that Jarrett Stidham touchdown where he trucked a guy and ran in for a touchdown, the first person on the field who wasn't in that play to give him some love was Bo Nix. And Jarrett Stidham backs that up. And he said, there are things happening here in this locker room that does not happen in most places. And you got to remember, he played for the Raiders, he played for the Patriots, and that vibe and that culture, we hear all the time from the national media that like Sean Payton is a tyrant and he cusses out players on the sidelines. Yet if you actually look at his team, he's a magnet. And how many guys has he sucked over from the Saints who want to join him? That's proof right there that he's not a locker room destroyer. He's like a builder of culture. And the fact that after last year was over, Jarrett Stidham and 16 or 17 other players went up and did a boys weekend in Aspen. And so Stidham talked about that with Tim Patrick scoring that touchdown. He was like, what you guys didn't see is in the locker room, there was a massive group hug and like love on Tim Patrick that he had scored his first touchdown in about 1,000 days, and how bad they all wanted that for Tim Patrick. And I think that all bodes extremely well for these Broncos. We have a coach who builds a culture, who leans into his quarterback's strengths, and I think it's really going to take this league by storm. Other cool thing I saw on Twitter was that even though there's a lot of us jumping on and just like being like, finally, people think we're good, they did a power ranking where they had every single ESPN analyst give their ranking 1 to 32 of the best squads in the league, and the Denver Broncos came in 31st. And that is just proof right there that people are sleeping on this team. There is no way. Sean Payton has never won less than 7 games. He's come out and told us multiple occasions that he's going to win more than 7 games this year, and he's not lowering our expectations whatsoever. And the thing that made me very encouraged was, if you looked at last time this year, the team who was in the 31st spot was the Houston Texans, who went on to make the playoffs, win a playoff game, be hot, they beat the Browns in the playoffs, and now there are people talking about them being AFC contenders, and that really you hit on 2 guys in the draft and everything changes. And boy, oh boy, are we hitting on more than 2 guys in the draft, because if you take a look here, we saw Jonah Ellis, massive hit in the draft right there, right? That he skyrocketing up the depth chart right there, and that he is going to make people know his name. And then if you take a look at day 3 draft picks, we also have one of the highest ranked day 3 draft picks in Chris Abrams-Drain. And so as we think about who's going to be lining up against on that other side of Pat Surtain, we are in a very, very good position here. So I love anytime that we can buy low because people are sleeping on these Denver Broncos. We know what is actually going to happen, and that is the Denver Broncos are going to make the playoffs this year with a rookie quarterback because he is the truth, and we have a lot to believe in.